Welcome to Brain Vision.
Okay, so due to energy conservation law, the gravitational potential energy is equal to the final kinetic energy. So therefore, we have mgh is equal to 1/2 mv final square. Okay, so therefore, we have the total energy of the system is either equal to the initial gravitational potential energy or the final kinetic energy. So therefore, let's set up the total energy is equal to the initial gravitational potential energy, which is equal to mgh. And if I drew the graph of pendulum, so looks something like this. There's a ball, I don't know, some kind of objects. So as you can tell, there's angle theta here, and the length of the pendulum is L. So therefore, if I draw a dashed line perpendicular to the straight line here, the vertical line here, this part is L cosine theta. And this part is the height, which is h. So therefore, as you can tell, the height is equal to the length of the pendulum minus, minus L cosine theta, which is equal to L times 1 minus cosine theta. So therefore, we can plug in back to the equation, and we'll have the total energy of the system, which is equal to mgh, which is equal to mg times L, and then 1 minus cosine theta. And for the next question, well, we already got a maximum height. So the maximum height is simply equal to L times 1 minus cosine theta. Okay, because at that point, the potential energy is at the greatest level or at the maximum level, and that's why it can be equal to the total energy of the system. Okay. And for question C, well, in order to determine the maximum speed, we need to find out the maximum kinetic energy. Because when the kinetic energy is at a maximum level, that means all the gravitational potential energy was converted to kinetic energy. So therefore, if kinetic energy is maximum, that means the speed should be at maximum level as well. And we know when the kinetic energy becomes maximum, it actually can be equal to the initial gravitational potential energy, which is mg L times 1 minus cosine theta due to energy conservation law. Okay, so therefore we'll have 1/2 mv max square is equal to mg L times 1 minus cosine theta. As you can tell, mass can be cancelled out. So eventually we'll have V max is equal to square root two GL. Let me see. Times 1 minus cosine theta. And for D, well, the assumption I made is that there's no damping involved during the process, okay? Such as there's no air resistance involved, so there's no damping, okay? Because if there's damping, the potential energy cannot be fully converted into kinetic energy, okay? Because if there's a damping involved, there will be some change internal energy to the objects, okay? So the assumption I made is that there's no damping involved during the process. And for question E, well, if the assumption are not valid, that means the maximum speed will be decreased, okay? Because the oscillation will eventually come to a stop. That means the speed will gradually decreasing as time goes, and eventually the speed becomes zero if there's a damping involved, okay? And these are my answers for this question.